It's pretty clear, Clayton. This is all about Iran. You don't need to employ B-2 bombers to strike the Houthis in Yemen, for God's sakes. So this is very, very sophisticated aircraft designed to survive integrated air defenses at 35, 40,000 feet and bomb with precision. There's only one target set out there for which these would be useful to the United States at this point, and that is obviously Iran. Now, you know I don't support this idea. I think this is a catastrophe. I don't think we should bomb anybody over this business right now. But unfortunately, we're not in charge, and this administration has played its cards and said, you know, we're the Israel First administration, and we're going after Iran. So I think it's pretty obvious. Now, is this just a threat? Well, I don't think it's just a threat. I don't think it's a meaningless gesture. You don't move this kind of equipment. And this is the tip of the proverbial iceberg. This is what you see. Beyond that, there's a lot more firepower now that's being assembled in the region. You've got to remember something else, that you're talking about a generation of people who are in charge right now. I exclude President Trump from that because he's not part of this generation. But if you look at the ages of these people, they don't have any real military experience. I'm sorry, but showing up for a few months in the National Guard and going on patrol or being in the Public Affairs Office of the Marine Corps, these things do not prepare you to understand the gravity of the situation you're discussing. You're talking about the destruction, not just of property, but of human beings on a grand scale with weapons of mass destruction. And people say, well, that's not true. Well, I got news for you. A 2,000-pound bomb that is precision delivered is a weapon of mass destruction that will kill and annihilate everything. You start talking about these things, and you don't have an appreciation for what's at stake, because there are consequences to our action. They're not limited to Yemen. They're not limited to Iran. These consequences can reach beyond the region. And this is the problem and the danger of a regional war. I don't think we understand, frankly, the consequences involved. I don't think we understand the implications. It frightens me.
Takeaway. This segment shifts focus to U.S. military activities, specifically the deployment of B-2 bombers to Diego Garcia, interpreted as preparation for strikes against Iran, and a leaked signal conversation exposing questionable military decisions. Colonel Macgregor expresses alarm at the bombers' visibility, arguing they signal an impending conflict with Iran rather than a mere threat, given their capability to penetrate advanced air defenses. He criticizes the Trump administration's Israel First policy as driving this escalation, warning of catastrophic consequences. The signal leak reveals a discussion about a strike on a civilian apartment in Yemen to kill a target, suggesting a cavalier attitude toward civilian casualties and potential war crimes. Macgregor deems this unprofessional and amateurish, questioning the competence of current U.S. leadership, who lack military experience, and urging accountability. Analysis. This segment blends military analysis with speculative commentary, leaning heavily on Macgregor's expertise as a former colonel but offering little concrete evidence beyond his assertions. The B-2 deployment to Diego Garcia is framed as a clear precursor to war with Iran, though alternative explanations, e.g., deterrence or regional posturing, are not considered, narrowing the interpretive scope. The Israel First label reflects a critical stance on U.S. foreign policy, aligning with Macgregor's broader skepticism of interventionism, but lacks substantiation within the transcript. The signal leaks details authorizing a strike on a civilian target are disturbing if accurate, yet the transcript provides no source verification, leaving its authenticity uncertain. Macgregor's critique of leadership inexperience is a valid concern in military decision-making debates, but his exclusion of Trump from this critique appears selective, given Trump's own lack of military service. The segment's alarmist tone about a regional war's consequences is plausible but speculative without specific intelligence to back it up. Summary. The segment begins with the hosts raising concerns about US B-2 bombers appearing at Diego Garcia, a British Indian Ocean Territory base, over recent days, alongside a signal leak tied to strikes on Houthi rebels in Yemen. Macgregor reacts with frustration, noting that such movements should remain secret, but satellite surveillance makes concealment difficult. He argues the B-2s, designed for precision strikes against sophisticated defenses, are positioned for Iran, not Yemen's Houthis, dismissing the latter as an implausible target. He accuses the Trump administration of prioritizing Israel and preparing for war, calling it a catastrophe he opposes, and suggests significant additional firepower is being amassed regionally. The signal leak discussion reveals a pilot and weapons operator debating a strike on a civilian apartment to eliminate a target, implying authorization for civilian casualties. Macgregor labels this a clown show, deploring its public exposure on an unencrypted platform like Signal instead of secure channels, and questions how such sensitive information leaked, possibly involving a Trump critic, Goldberg, though this remains unclear. He contrasts this laxity with 1990s-era encrypted military communications, underscoring a decline in professionalism. The hosts and Macgregor express outrage at the casual approach to civilian deaths, with Macgregor warning of broader consequences from using weapons of mass destruction like 2,000-pound bombs, potentially escalating beyond the region. He concludes by lamenting the inexperience of current leaders, excluding Trump, and their failure to grasp the gravity of their actions. Conclusion. This segment highlights serious concerns about U.S. military intentions and operational security, with the B-2 deployment and signal leaks suggesting a risky escalation toward Iran and ethical lapses in Yemen. Macgregor's analysis is authoritative yet speculative, and the lack of verified details weakens its impact. The critique of leadership inexperience and potential war crimes warrants attention, but a more balanced exploration of motives and evidence would strengthen the argument.